Choujin X chapter 40 is finally here, and we see that Tokyo is doing the investigation of the old marketplace as he build up his team. As we see two Choujins that he was able to assemble. One is an insect Choujin, which his name is Michelangelo, and the other one is a psychic Choujin, which his name is Michael. And so, of course, it's very interesting how both of these Trojans kind of have the same similar name, Michelangelo and Michael, which is very funny. But we understand how Michael is during this chapter because we see more character development with him and his chosen powers because he's able to use telekinesis, but he's also is able to do physical attacks such as making a barrier, which his barrier is strong enough to actually take a gorilla punch, but if the gorilla punch is powerful, it's able to make a crack. Now, if he's fighting against Momoma, then his barrier will actually break. And we see him use the barrier later on in this chapter after Tokyo and the rest of the game has been ambushed by two other Trojans. So, of course, while Tokyo and his team are investigating, of course, in the beginning of the chapter, we see them actually trying to figure out a plan. But of course, they have like this whole scuffle because of how they look, especially since Tokyo and Michael actually look alike. And so, of course, they're playing rock, paper, scissors to see if whether or not they could stay in the disguise, like who's going to stay in their disguise. But Seto comes in and he's like, hey, look, you guys, like, calm down, play it cool, take out the mustache because you guys look ridiculous. And then he warns Tokyo, like, hey, do not touch the drugs of the opioid because of the fact that it will have a negative effect. And we already know what the drug would do to Choujin because we already see an example of what happened to Sora. So, of course, throughout this chapter, we see them walking towards and seeing the environment and trying to lay low and trying to find the connection of the dealer so that way they can go ahead and bust it before, Tokyo's mission runs out because he only has 2 weeks. So, of course, during around this time, Michael he sees the Omega Tower, and we see the PTSD that has affected him during the last time he was already seeing the Omega Tower. Because the last time he saw the Omega Tower, it was the past couple of chapters when the Yamano Mori was facing against Sora and they actually lost. And there was like a lot of casualties because a lot of Trojans lost their lives, but also too, they lost their limbs and bodies. And we see the injury that Michael has received during that time. So after Michael have his PTSD moment, he goes on ahead and continue on with the mission where Tokyo and his team are able to find some drug dealers so that way they can get their first big break on his whole investigation plan. But then we focus on Palma because Palma got the 80 bodies that Batista had promised her. And so while she get the 80 bodies, she start to experiment. And there we see Palma, she's seeing the results of the new strain that Batista had gave her. And so with the new strain, we see that some of the bodies actually was able to explode within 7 seconds. But then later on, as she's continuously doing her experiment with subject 47 and 66, they're able to be in like a steady level, like they're able to be stable. So of course she's just like, okay, so these readings are 10 times the human standards, but it must be from the blood and not from the effects of the ex-member. So she is just stating that in one in the 10,000s of many people who wants to become Chojins is only 0.1%. So the likelihood of a person surviving their awakening of their Chojin powers, the likelihood that they will become Chojin post-awakening is next to nothing. So of course, Pamela, as she continuously on doing her research with the dead bodies. And here we kind of was speculating there's a theory that's floating around that she will be the cause or like kind of like the start of the dark calamity. Like her research and her what she's doing for like Batista and everything else will start the dark calamity that Zora just keeps spilling on and on and on. So of course we focus back onto Tokyo as he's able to find the two dealers, and he of course he says like he wants some hamburgers, and of course the two dealers they kind of suspect that Tokyo is up to something, or they think that he's like an easy target to rob. So of course Tokyo goes on ahead and he beats the hell out of them. And the whole time throughout this whole mission, Tokyo has been calm. So after this time skip, we see Tokyo's like demeanor and how he is, how he just changed 180, because this whole situation, Tokyo is calm and confident, and he's able to like destroy the two Chojins. And it was really interesting. It was real cool. And we were able to see him do like an uppercut. And Tokyo got shot too in the hand. And you can just tell how powerful and how in like endurance Tokyo is, because with his physical side, because he got shot in the hand. The bullet didn't go through to Tokyo. Like the bullet just kind of like pierced Tokyo, and that was it. Like it just pierced him. It didn't even go through his hand. So Tokyo got a lot stronger physically. So of course the chapter ends after Tokyo whooped the dealer's ass, and then they continue on with their investigation. So yeah, this chapter was really interesting. It's just pretty much just building up to what's going to happen in the next couple of chapters in the next arc, because now that Tokyo's like cover has been blown and he beat up the two drug dealers, they pretty much will suspect Tokyo to be a keeper and trying to bust the operations. But of course, we see Pamela, whatever her name is, she is actually continue doing the experiment. And so it's be more interesting to see like what is the results of her experiments, thanks to like Batista supplying her with the bodies. So all in all, this chapter was really interesting. If you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe. And let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about this chapter, what you guys think about the whole situation with Batista. Pamela, do you think that she will be the cause of the Dark Calamity, or like pretty much the blueprint of the Dark Calamity? Just let me know down in the comment section. If you guys do like the video, please give a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. Sorry for repeating myself, but peace.